The Rolling Stones, their Satanic Majesties Request, right now on States and Kingdoms. Right, this is our first Rolling Stones video, so I dressed up for the occasion, just for the Stones.
Like a disco ball.
Yes, I'm shiny. So, I mean, a little bit of a disclaimer.
A disclaimer.
Well,
A disclaimer.
just so people understand where we're coming from regarding the Rolling Stones. We, and you know this, we grew up. Our parents shaped our early musical tastes. We listened to a lot of music in the house. We did not listen to the Rolling Stones. That was not really one of the things that our mother or father, our mother or father,
he's pretty far. Yeah,
were
you're right.
listening to in the 80s or 90s. We grew up listening to the Beatles a lot. And a smattering of other things, but the Beatles were like the core.
Yeah, we grew up listening to the Beatles. Some of my first memories are listening to the Beatles, seeing Hard Day's Night, Help. And so the Beatles are very central in some ways. And because of that, the whole Beatles-Stones marketing rivalry gave us a prejudice about the Stones.
Yeah.
That lasted for a while.
Yeah, it took a little while to overcome.
And it still bugs me when people are like, I don't like the Beatles, I like the Stones. Because they're like, fella.
Because they think they're being more interesting than they actually
They
are.
are very different. You don't have to choose.
That's the thing.
It's like that's marketing from 1964.
Still working.
You don't have to choose.
You don't have to choose.
Pepsi versus Coca-Cola. McDonald's versus Burger King.
Yeah.
Macy's versus Gimbals. You don't have to choose anymore. It's over.
You're
it's
showing
all
your
over.
age now.
It's over. You don't have to do it.
No, that always bugged me.
Montgomery Ward versus Sears. It's fine. You can like both.
You can like both, and they're so different. They really shouldn't be compared, and especially in the case of this album.
Yeah.
This should not be compared to Sgt. Pepper.
No, and the main reason it is because of the cover. The cover.
And we've talked about this a lot, and we talk about this a lot off camera.
Yeah.
People have seeing something, thinking it's something problem. They see something, they think it's similar to this other thing with their eyes, and then they just assume that it's the same thing.
And it sticks. It can really stick, and it does whatever it is a great disservice. It really ultimately does the Beatles and the Stones a disservice, but mostly the Rolling Stones.
Right.
This is a really great album.
It is. I love it. I love it.
For us, it's sort of the perfect Rolling Stones album. It aligns perfectly with what we like. Kind of whether it's psychedelic stuff, prog stuff.
Well, yeah, for me, for sure, this was the gateway album.
It's a really good album. So.
Let's
sing this all together.
Yeah, sing this all together.
Sing this all together.
What a wonderful opening song. It is so catchy, really great melody, and the song itself does so much. It changes, and it gets noisy and crazy, and
for what is sort of, I guess you could call it like a pub song, or I mean it's like I saw someone say a campfire song.
Okay.
Which I never thought of. It almost, when all the voices join in, it almost reminds me of like shape note singing. It's got a lot of qualities that I really like. And I think it's one of the best melodies they ever wrote. I know they don't think so. But I really like this melody.
This is the song that I come away with most often listening to this record.
It's very catchy.
That I'm humming this for days.
Yeah.
Of course, it helps that you hear it later on too, but
yeah. I mean, not you hear.
Well, I know.
You hear it. Yeah, you hear it in after a certain fashion.
A different iteration.
Citadel. Now, the primary thing here, because it opens with it, is I absolutely love the guitar. The guitar is fantastic.
Mwah.
No, it's really great. I love that guitar sound. I don't know if that's like a short plate reverb or an echo. I'm not whatever it is, I love it. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does.
And it's again a very catchy melody from
very
them.
Catchy.
I think it's, and it starts to. I think you start to hear on. You hear on both the depth of this album, sonically. You know, there's a lot of instruments on it. There's a lot of layers to each song.
Okay. There's a lot going on. There's so many. Yeah, there's so many instruments on this album, not just this song. Like throughout, and it's truly layered and interwoven, and it's just
and I
there's so much going on.
All of the nuances in the production here, I think you kind of understand why Andy Partridge loves this album.
Oh yeah.
And we kind of just talked about this indirectly when we were doing a review of 25 O'Clock, which we love.
Yeah.
And because this album,
this is the sound of that album.
You know, it comes through.
It does.
Yeah, I love this album too. I love both. 2 songs in, there's a lot here that's interesting, I think. You know, a lot of, in the production, and the instruments that are being used, the sounds, you know, the guitar sounds awesome, and everything that's going on. Yeah, I mean, it holds your interest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it really, I mean, I don't know, of course it does, but it holds your interest.
No, but it really does.
So
there's a lot
you
to,
want to hear the next
There's a
song.
lot to really, like, bite into.
Yeah.
These songs are really chewy.
But they still sound like the Stones.
Yeah.
They do. You know, like people...
Well, I've heard some of these songs before. I know. Before I listened to this album a lot, like I knew what some of them sounded like, and I never thought, knowing the Stones, trajectory and what they sound like in all their different phases, I never thought, well, that's weird. This one doesn't sound like anything. I never thought that.
Some people make it sound like they sound like a completely different band.
No.
It still sounds like the Rolling Stones to me.
And I like it.
Yeah.
I like this version of the Stones.
Yeah, they're really pushing it. And I kind of, I mean, yeah.
I'll
just say, I wish they had pushed it a little bit more later.
Yeah, but that's true, because there's such a, for me, like an experimental undertone throughout this whole album where you feel, or overtone.
The same thing. Where
you feel like they are really stretching themselves, and they're doing different things, and they're using different instruments and making weird sounds, and it, like jammy instrumental type things happening in between songs. It's just really cool, and feels truly experimental.
Yeah, I agree. In Another Land.
It's a nice song.
It is. I don't think of this as being a great song, but it's a good song. It's a good Baroque, psychedelic song.
You got that warbled vocal.
Yeah, it's tremolo. Yeah, it sounds good. And Mick Jagger like singing on the chorus, and it's a good song.
Yeah, it's catchy too. It's catchy, and And
if
Bill Wyman had a nappy poo.
If the story about the snoring is correct, it's not nice, but it is funny.
Bad Mick.
But it is funny.
It is funny.
If they did that. Because, it's nice to hear from Bill Wyman. It's not the snoring part, but it's nice to hear a song from him,
No, it's true. And it fits. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. 2000 Man.
Yeah, this is a really good song. And I like the drums a lot. The drums are really cool on this song.
They're really cool syncopated thing.
And the change, when the song shifts.
Yeah, halfway through it just picks up and kind of just moves forward.
I'm going to say I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sing this all together. Reprise. Some people feel it slows it down, the album down. It does. It certainly does a little bit. There's no way around that. But I feel this is really an integral part of the album.
It ends the first side.
Yeah.
Which is perfect. This is an example of really utilizing, the two sides and thinking of them as separate little things, and the break. So this song winding down, ending the first side, and then flipping to,
She's a Rainbow, yeah.
It works great.
It does work really well.
Yeah, so this song, just like in the middle of the album, if you're listening to it straight through, like on a CD, might sound a little like, well, all right. But when it closes out the first side, it's such a difference. It makes somehow it makes it different.
It's an amazing difference. Yeah, it does make a difference. And I mean, this is an 8-minute song.
Yeah,
we can't really go into it.
I mean, what's 8 minutes?
But I like the way it's almost like a deconstruction of Sing This All Together rather than a jam over it. They reinterpret that.
Yeah.
And they do it in a number of ways. And I think it's really interesting because there, jammy stuff, call it that, became very common in the late 60s, of course.
I generally don't like jammy.
I'm not nuts about it either. It can sometimes, but sometimes it can also become very monotonous. Actually be self-indulgent, which is a word that they would, sort of lob at these people. But I think this is very interesting and it holds my interest. And when I sit down and listen to this album, I don't skip this, and I don't think of skipping this.
No,
I like this. And like you said, it ends side 1, and side 2, you got She's a Rainbow Waiting for You, which is really good. She's a rainbow. Now, we're big Love fans. I've always made that connection between She Comes in Colors and this song.
Right, since he does actually say that lyric
he does actually say it. And there are other things in the song that connect the two.
Yeah, thematically there's similarities. The music isn't quite as
it's not a rip. It's it's inspired by, influenced by.
It's really cool in the song. I love the kind of discordant, noisy.
Yes, I was gonna say
part.
actually, but I actually just love the piano intro.
Yes.
But then yes, I do like that too. The dissonant strings at the end, and we were talking about this. People used to say this was sort of the Stones poking fun at the Beatles and poking fun at Sgt. Pepper, and a lot of people dismissed that, and they've never said so. There are a couple of things that would lead you to wonder about that.
There's a few moments that could be like
there are
a kind of tip of the cap.
And I mean, I'd kind of like to think so.
Well, I mean, because it's funny.
Yeah, it would be funny if that were true.
And that's something that, and this could just be me, but I always felt that the Stones weren't taking themselves so seriously.
Well, they were so close.
Yeah. I
mean, they were so close. And it would be something that close friends would do.
Yeah, it's funny.
And
you have a sense of humor.
But but even if that's not the case, even if it's just to give a counterpoint to this song, it's really effective.
No, it works perfectly because essentially it's a very sweet, sort of straightforward song, and then that happens, and it just like turns it in a different direction. It's just like a crazy middle punctuation thing.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like wait for it.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
The Lantern.
The Lantern. This doesn't seem like we were talking about this before, and it's kind of hard to grab a hold of the song. One thing that's interesting is the lyrics, which are almost gothic to me. Mm-hmm. It's kind of folky.
Yeah.
It's difficult to talk about because there are some things in this song that seem to me so Rolling Stones-ish.
Yes, me too.
And then, but at the same time, there are things that they never did again.
I feel like there's
extremely
like
atmospheric song,
twangy guitar thing that feels very Stonesy.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
On this song.
It's a really effective song. I like it a lot. We haven't talked about one, Nicky Hopkins, who's so instrumental.
Sure is.
On this album, and two, Brian Jones. When India was the culture that so many musicians were going toward,
flocking to.
On this album, you hear, North African music, Moroccan music.
Yeah.
Coming through Brian Jones, and it really sets it apart. It gives it a totally different flavor than the Beatles or the Byrds. It's a very different sound.
Yeah, it's more than just the sitar and the strings. It's everything.
and it's just very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And really very enjoyable.
Well interwoven into a lot of the songs on the album.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that going on.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's really cool.
And Brian Jones, I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's his last hurrah, but it's pretty close. And he really comes through on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, for sure.
2,000 Light Years from Home.
Yeah, what an awesome song this is.
Yeah, I love the intro is awesome. The piano, and then everything. The mellotron Brian Jones is playing, some of the best mellotron. Really, just almost until like Tony Banks, just great.
Yeah.
And it's an exciting song. It's
a
real energetic song.
Yeah, and it's got like a heaviness to it. It's
yeah.
really, really awesome. It's powerful and also melodic and everything you want a song to be.
And it's got, kind of sci-fi-ish lyrics, which, is unusual for the Stones after this.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's great. It's awesome.
And in a lot of ways, you could really make a case for ending the album right there.
Yeah. Because the next song, On With The Show, it doesn't ruin the album.
No, that's fine.
It's not like it lacks musical substance totally. It has some of that, something of the kind of Rolling Stones irony-ish, I suppose.
It feels like it's keeping it light.
It is, like, in a way.
And if you ended with 2,000 Light Years from Home, it would be a little bit more of a weighty ending. This keeps it...
I would end it that way.
Yeah, weighty's fine.
I would have ended it that way. Now the thing, of course, we're talking about Dandelion. Where does Dandelion fit in?
And I love that song. And that was an early kind of like, oh, that's the Stones. I like this kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it needs to be on here, but if I had to squeeze it in, I would probably stick it right under She's a Rainbow. And then push all the other songs down, and then On With The Show goes away.
I don't necessarily want it on here.
No, but you pushed me. You said you need to put it on there.
But you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
It would go behind She's a Rainbow.
Okay. Fine.
But I don't know if it needs to be.
No, you think so. No, you
this
do.
This is a great album, though.
You want it to be on here. That's fine.
Well, then I listen to it more.
Okay.
This is a wonderful album with a very wonderful album cover. It's so good.
Yeah,
I love it.
There's George, like right there.
Yeah, the Beatles.
I'm not bothering to find the others. I don't really care. And it's junk now. You ruined it.
No resale. There you have it. Let us know what you think about their Satanic Majesties Request in the comments. Please like this video and consider subscribing to States and Kingdoms. We come out with new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so stay tuned and we'll see you next time.